All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chopping Block live at Token2049 in Singapore. Every couple weeks, we get together and give the industry insider's perspective on the crypto topics of the day. So quick intros. First, we got Tom, the DeFi maven and master of memes.
Hi, everyone.
Next, we got Tarun, the Giga Brain and Grand Poobah at Gauntlet.
Yo.
We got a special guest. First, Shaikh, the move mastermind at Aptos. And then, of course, we've got Arthur Hayes, the high arbiter of alpha.
What's up, motherfuckers?
And I'm Haseeb, the head hype man at Dragonfly. We're early stage investors in crypto. I want to caveat that nothing we say here is investment advice, legal advice, or even life advice. Please see choppingblock.xyz for more disclosures.
It's very true that this disclaimer matters more live because there's only financial advice at this conference.
That's true. That's true. We're getting a lot of financial advice today from Arthur.
Just saying.
So we're here live in Singapore, Token2049. What's the vibe been so far? This is like the flagship Asia event. What's the feeling on the ground?
A lot of fucking traffic.
A lot of
I
traffic.
had to walk my ass out of my car today to get in here. I was sweating like a motherfucker. This is what the fuck.
Yeah.
I think conferences during F1 is a dumbass idea. I'm not going to lie. Because the infrastructure sucks. They're closing all the roads. It's just like, it's a nightmare. I don't get it.
I don't know. It gets people to come out, but I agree with you. I actually literally just missed a panel that you were on because I was trying to get a taxi that normally would take 5 minutes. It was like 45 minutes to get across just like 2 intersections.
I had to sub in and be Haseeb. I was going to go bald for that one, but they wouldn't let me do it.
It's closer. You just get a bald cap and it basically looks the same. Yeah. Okay. Damn. Well, so one of the things happening at Token2049 is, of course, Breakpoint. Happens right after Token2049, which is the big flagship Solana event. And there was just a little bit of drama taking place on Twitter that Iggy Azalea, friend of the show, it turns out she was going to do a debate on stage with Eric Wall. And they were going to debate whether or not celeb coins are good for crypto. Now, everyone was very excited. I was very excited about this debate. Unfortunately, this debate has been canceled. And it was canceled because Iggy Azalea was planning to plant strippers in the audience wearing business suits. And they were going to jump out in the middle of the debate and start twerking on stage. And apparently, this was not allowed by Singaporean regulators. And so she was like, look, I can't actually do a debate.
Wait.
The whole plan was for it to be a joke.
She put regulators in quotes. If you read the tweet, just saying.
I don't know. Thoughts?
This sounds like something I would do if I were going to lose a debate and find some bullshit excuse to get out of it. So I'd be scared too if I were going to get Eric.
Eric's pretty fierce.
Maybe we should just pump our tokens some more and people wouldn't need the strippers. I don't know.
I mean, if that's what it takes to get people to Breakpoint, but now apparently not happening, so who's going to sub in now? Is that going to be totally on stage twerking?
I don't know.
I mean, now Tom Schmidt is an enemy of the mother community based on that comment he just made.
Is there a mother community still? I feel like when your token goes down 95%.
You're even more of an enemy for saying that one.
All right.
I will say, since we criticized Mother has actually been kind of down only. Well, it rebounded a little bit, but I think it's like, at the time that we were talking about on the show, it was worth like 250 million. Now it's like 40 million, something like that.
It's still above zero, though.
It's still above zero. It's still above zero. And to Iggy's credit, she has been grinding. Clearly, she was planning to grind on stage. So it's like, she was really going at it. You were just telling us a story about another celeb here in Singapore. Do you want to recount that story?
Yeah, so I get this message from my chief of staff. He's like, this motherfucker Jason Derulo wants to have a meeting. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I'm an EDM house guy. So I look this motherfucker up and say, oh, okay, I guess he's kind of famous. And so my chief of staff has a meeting with this guy, and he's like, yo, I'm coming to Singapore, and I want to come to your party, and why don't you pay me $100,000 to get on stage and sing a song? And I was like, how about no? And then I get a message from his man. He's like, yo, Jason had some deal with some decks, and it fell through, and he was supposed to make 80 grand to come to Singapore. Like, why don't you do him a solid and pay him to come to your event? Like, we'd owe you one. Nah.
Is this how business gets done in Singapore? Is this the...
I don't know, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, damn.
Everyone in the audience wants to know which exchange.
I'm not going to flame them like that.
No, we're not going to sell them out.
Sorry.
We want them to book subsequent celebrities.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the lesson here is you can't be dependent on somebody else's decks. You got to do your own decks. You got to do your own token. Iggy, I give her credit for that. No decks partnership is going to fall through for her. So.
Yeah, I mean the celebs at crypto events meta does feel like it's evolved over the years. We went from, what would you say was like the high points and the low points of celebs in crypto meta?
Was there ever a high point?
I mean, we're about to hit a new high point with Donald Trump.
That's kind of true. Someone was joking that when you see Diplo performing at the conference, that's the top. But Diplo's coming back again, so maybe he's like evergreen. There's always going to be Diplo no matter what you do.
I feel like Diplo's solid. I don't know. Diplo's not like a down bad kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But bear market, there must have been like some really bad celeb bookings, no?
It's always like
Do you like to lose money on this stage? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do that. Yeah.
All right. I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't go to any of these things, so I'm pretty boring. OK, so speaking of celeb coins, let's talk about the elephant in the room, World Liberty Financial. So World Liberty Financial, for those of you who have been under a rock, that is the Trump family DeFi product. Okay? So they very recently, I think it just as of yesterday, they did a Twitter Spaces. So they've been teasing a lot of stuff. They've been kind of, hinting that this thing is going to happen, but there wasn't a lot of detail. And so everyone was very excited about this Twitter Space that was going to go live by the guys at Rug Radio. And this happened the day after the Trump assassination attempt. They were supposed to go to Mar-a-Lago to do this Twitter Space, but it was delayed by a day because someone tried to kill him. And so they were like, no, just come back tomorrow, it's cool. So they went to Mar-a-Lago the next day, and they did this Twitter Space. And so, Tom, you listened to the Twitter Space. Talk us through what you learned about World Liberty Financial.
It was pretty crazy. I wanted to withhold judgment because I want wait till see what they launch, wait till see white paper. And I feel like you still have to withhold judgment because it was like 2 hours of just like no content. It was like you put it's like sometimes people put like 5 Sims in a room and they start kind of like interacting in weird ways. And kind of felt like that. Where there's like there's nothing to do. There wasn't like a job, but there was kind of like playing off each other. And there was like this is the most like asinine like non sequitur like quips about like. One that's kind of going right now is Trump was talking about Barron being like a DeFi genius because he has like 4 wallets. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
4 wallets?
How are these people launching
4
a
wallets?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Incredible.
Does he have an Aptos wallet?
What'd you say?
Does he have an Aptos wallet?
Could be one
I
of the
don't
4.
know.
We don't comment on that. We don't comment on that, but maybe.
So I think everyone is waiting to get more details. And the only good news is, there was this article that went out maybe about a week ago talking about how 70% of the token was going to be pre-allocated for insiders. It sounds like that's now flipping. But this is the other weird part. They're doing a Reg D sale. Like they're registering with the SEC for the sale of this token, which I don't even know why or how they're doing that. The whole thing is just like it's from Mars. I don't
like
like
a coinless sale?
I have no idea.
Okay, wow.
This is going to be
Who's going to buy it? Nobody?
I was just going to say, it's going to be a very interesting deal memo coming out of that Twitter Space from Tom.
I just, I'm hoping for the best.
So what does the protocol do? Do they explain what the protocol does?
No,
they've not.
That was not part of the
Okay.
discussion.
Okay, but the
They've
idea
got
that
that part of crypto right. You don't tell them what it does. Just launch it.
Yeah, plug it.
Well, did they at least say before the election or after the election? When's the launch?
I think it's coming up because
Well, no. So there's a polymarket market on whether or not Trump will launch a token before the election. And before the Twitter Space, it was trading at 80%, and after the Twitter Space, it plummeted to 25.
Maybe people are skeptical of the overall sort of shape of it. I mean, we know it's going to be a lending protocol. Initially, there was some teasing that it's going to be somehow RWA, real estate related. Seems like that's not likely to be the case. Seems like it is going to be this kind of like Doe Finance, Aave kind of fork, but. Like why now? Why this is kind of unclear.
Yeah.
I do kind of like they have this kind of like populist message though to World Liberty Financial of like the big banks they're ripping you off and we're gonna give finance back to the people. So they're leaning with that, which I guess is better than nothing.
I mean, that resonates. Yeah, I can feel that. So okay, what do we think? Let's say World Liberty Financial were to drop tomorrow. And let's say fully diluted valuation. There's 10% floating. Standard crypto launch. What do you think the fully diluted valuation would be, Arthur? For you,
10 billion.
10 billion.
10 billion.
So a billion floating. A billion floating.
Billion floating.
Okay, Mo, what do you think?
Oh man, that's. I mean, 10 is really 10.
People are muppets.
But it's a meme coin. What meme coin hit 10 billion?
This wouldn't be the first one.
On launch? Wow, that's crazy. I don't know. I'm dumbfounded.
I guess based on Tom's DD, I think I'll go with 7. 7
7 billion.
Yeah, I'll go a little under that. Yeah.
Well, I have to play Price is Right rules, 6.9 billion.
All right, what do you say?
It should
Well,
just
as
tank by the minute.
69 billion. Come on. Whatever.
Well done. Well done.
We call that MVP.
Well done. Fuck, there's some jokes in that one.
I'm going to be a little bit more bearish. I'm going to go 2. I think part
You're
of the
gonna go
problem is
2.
it's just not fun. I feel like if you had tasked me with creating a Trump DeFi protocol, we could have done all sorts of fun stuff. We could have done like Trump.fun, you know, we could have done Trump Swap.
wow, that would've
like,
been great.
Yeah, you know, it's supposed to be like fun and approachable. And this is
Hey,
like,
whichever one of you assholes starts Trump.fun, you owe content royalties.
I'll be an
Someone's on
advisor.
their phone right now buying that domain.
We all get 20%.
Yeah.
Just make sure Shrekly is on it. You know, it's going to do well.
But yeah, be a little whimsical with it. It's just a little boring, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll go in the middle. I'll go at like 400, 4.5. It feels to me like, Trump, to be clear, is the most famous man in the world. So maybe Elon Musk, but Trump is more famous than Elon. That being said, it doesn't feel like he's trying that hard. And that's the thing that feels like the most disappointing about this, is how lazy it feels. You know, he's doing like one Twitter space every like month and then one tweet a month. And that's about it. And besides that, it's just like, oh,
Compared
Barron,
to
and
most
it's like,
other meme coin creators, he has a lot more going on, though. To be honest, right? Like Jason Derulo doesn't have shit to do other than message art.
That's fair. Okay. Interesting.
Famous
So-
people don't have to work as hard, man. Just be lazy.
Yeah, all right. So the interesting thing also is that we've seen this parade of advisors for World Liberty Financial. So a few of the advisors who have been announced so far, one of them is Sandy from Scroll, co-founder of Scroll. Another one is Cryptogle, who's a crypto security person who's been on the show before. Third person is Luke Pearson from Polychain?
I think it's a different Luke, but
Different Luke.
Yeah.
Some Luke from Polychain?
Yeah.
Any other advisors have been announced?
I think it's Luke Pearson. I think, yeah.
Oh, it is Luke
I
Pearson.
think it's
Okay,
Luke,
yeah. So it's like kind of a random hodgepodge of people. And I remember I was chatting with somebody who was one of the advisors to World Liberty Financial, and what they told me was that the advisors to World Liberty Financial, the way they're thinking about it is that they know the project is kind of shady, but they're joining because they see the other advisors all kind of feel the same way.
So it's a
And the idea-
Keynesian beauty contest for advising?
Well, no. The way they described it is like we're sort of the adults in the room, and as long as we have like these people around the table, we can nudge the project in the right direction. And if it's not nudging, then we can all walk out and make that like a signal to everybody else of like, okay, get away from this thing.
I too have seen an episode of Rugrats where all the kids convince themselves they're the parents. Like what? This is a ridiculous kind of like fallacy.
Look, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that's what my
Okay,
understanding
would you
is.
have been an advisor if someone like suppose in a world where you could say yes? What would make you? What would push you over the edge?
I mean, so we have a kind of blanket thing at Dragonfly that we don't advise anything.
sure.
But,
I'm saying,
let's say that wasn't
ignore-
true.
yeah.
Let's say that wasn't true. I don't know, man. I just feel like it would just shave years off my life to be advising World Liberty Financial. I just feel like it just does not invite good juju in your life
All right.
to be associated with something
Now
like that.
let's go to the other side. Arthur, what would it take for you to advise World Liberty Financial?
Billion.
Yeah?
Billion?
More 10%.
You want 10% of the token supply?
He's already done this math. 10 billion FTV. I want 10%.
Yeah,
I feel like
okay.
Jason Derulo might be a value play there. You know, bring on
You
JD.
didn't ask the right question. It's how much?
Yeah.
What's my cut?
Yeah. All right. You need 100 Derulos, and then you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Okay.
Donald Trump Jr., if you're listening, Arthur's line's
It's for
open.
sale.
Yeah.
For sale. On
But
sale.
what about you? What about Tarun?
Huh?
What about you?
Would never do it.
Really? No.
I'm too afraid. Well,
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Imagine there's a rug pull on that shit. You will get chased down by the people who threw shit at Citadel's headquarters on fire after GameStop. You're going to get like the craziest people following you. I don't want to be anywhere near that.
For $1 billion, though.
I don't live there. So.
Now, you buy a lot of lawyers $1 billion, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning, so on a previous show, you were talking a lot of shit about the Trump family coin, the Trump family meme coin, as you put it, or a meme coin with a lot more steps, I think is the way that you described it. Talk a little bit for the audience about what that experience was like afterwards.
My DMs were just filled with a lot of anons telling me how much they think my opinions suck. So I was just like, all right, you know what? I gotta like stay the fuck away from this asset class.
Asset
It deserves
class.
its own
Because the
category.
DMs, they hurt you so bad.
Yes. I don't know if they're worth 10% of the supply. Maybe.
Yeah.
I got to get to your level.
All right. So the asset class being celeb coins?
The asset class being presidential celebrity coins.
Presidential celeb, that's a pretty narrow, it's a pretty narrow asset class.
Yeah.
Okay. Arthur, what's your take on celebrity coins as a category?
They're great, but I guess most of them aren't doing so well price performance-wise. I mean,
Yeah. So why are they great?
attention to the space, activity on chain, new people using stuff. It's great.
You don't think that attention is like, okay, short term it's good, long term it ends up reflecting badly?
I mean, if we convert 10% of people who, logged on to one of these chains, then we've done something valuable, or whatever it is.
All onboarding is good onboarding.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so what's your celebrity coin plan now that for Aptos?
Well, yeah,
Are you talking to me?
motherfucker.
Yeah.
I thought Arthur had a celebrity coin for Aptos coming up. I mean, I agree. I think they are good at capturing attention, but they all have. I mean, we just talked about the price appreciation for Iggy, and like that sours a lot of people too. And so I think like, is there a net benefit? Because if the people lose money, like yes, you captured a couple, but the rest of the mob crowd that's sliding into your DMs, like that to me is just so net negative. And we haven't pursued any celebrity coins, but no plans in the short run. But we can't stop anybody, right?
Well,
So
I'm waiting for $Arthur, because like clearly you could get one right now.
1 billion going to this guy. I'll take the other 9.
He's a very cheap asking price. If you launch any coin,
As they say, don't get high on your own supply.
That's right.
All right.
What does that breakup look like on the pie chart?
Greater than 100%, because I'm good at math.
It's a square.
Yeah.
So I remember, so a while back, we talked about this on the show. There was all this drama about, Ansem being this kind of gateway for a lot of celebrities coming into crypto. And I remember, I think it was Kobe, who was criticizing Ansem and saying, look, if a celebrity wants to get into crypto, is the right way to get a celebrity into crypto to get them to launch a token with their name on it? Or is it just do what everyone else does and just like buy Bitcoin and Ether and like do the normal thing that everybody else does, is like invest in the space? Mo, I want to get your take on this as somebody who runs an ecosystem. What do you think about the healthiness for an ecosystem of getting people from outside who are like, oh, I can make a quick buck, I can monetize my fame, coming into an ecosystem saying, great, the sort of Jason Derulos of the world, pop in and say, yo, will you do me a solid, and like,
I mean,
what do you think about that?
Yeah. Ansom's backstage, right? I think he's coming up next.
He's listening.
Yeah.
He's listening.
I'm not,
Don't worry, you can't box, so it's okay.
I did Muay Thai, so I don't know. I'd be down to spar with him, but I guess what's the question? The question is how do we get those people on board and then convert them?
The question is like, with respect to meme coins, there's a lot of criticism now of meme coins as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of same category in that when you get into the late cycle of meme coins, in the beginning it's like, oh, it's fun, it's getting people in the space.
Sure.
Late cycle of meme coins, people are like, oh, pumped.fun, it's kind of extractive, it's pulling money out of the ecosystem. How do you think about that as somebody who's trying to cultivate an ecosystem?
I think what's fun about it, I think what's fun about meme coins is like you see price going up and people piling in and people talking about things. And sure, you get some fun components on Twitter, but that's really, the fun is making money, right? Like, let's be honest. And so how can you actually achieve that beyond just doing, meme coin activity, celeb coin activity, NFTs, ICO, go back to every cycle? I mean, for our perspective, we think applications, whether they're DeFi applications that offer economic incentives, those are much more interesting for us. They show demonstration of our protocol's performance. They bring in people that get economic value. They're having fun trading, right? Like making money, and that's awesome. From there, like, how do you cast a much wider net from a distribution perspective? I mean, you were in Korea with us, right? We're working with South Korea Telco, 30 million phone subscribers. They built T-Wallet, going to be in potentially 30 million devices. If you think about that, like, and Aptos is the preferred blockchain, of course, I got to do the plug. But imagine all of those people having fun making money on Aptos's products. Like, that is a little bit more sustainable and I think far more interesting. And then you can, of course, pile on and bring in all the meme coin stuff, all the fun NFT stuff. But there's so much more beyond that, right? Like Webtoons, for example. I don't know how many people in the audience or listening know about Webtoons. Webtoons is a comic strip that just has an episode every week. A bunch of different artists contribute to it. If you have a mobile device that allows you to make money and also take that money and deploy it into your favorite artist that has the next cartoon episode or a comic book episode coming, you can make money off of that too. So like, there's fun, there's actual entertainment versus like chasing the hype of a meme coin or an entertainment coin that we think is shorter fueled.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, you were mentioning what's going on in Korea, and I wanted to switch subjects a little bit to talk about a recent report that was dropped by Chainalysis, which was the Global Crypto Adoption Index. So every year, Chainalysis, they rank all the different countries in the world using a bunch of signals from like both on-chain data as well as website and kind of online visits to try to get a sense of how different countries are adopting crypto with respect to total number of users and total amount of online activity. Now, I somewhat have my doubts about their methodology, but here's the list of countries that they had by ranking, okay? Number one, anyone want to guess what the number one was? If did anyone know?
Is it percentage penetration or notional number of people?
It's kind of unclear. They don't actually specify exactly what they're doing, but it seems like it's mostly about people.
Okay.
It seems like it's more about people. Does anyone want to guess what the number one country was?
Philippines?
Philippines? No. Good guess, though. Number one was India.
India.
India was number one. So I'll go down the list. India, then Nigeria, then Indonesia. Number 4 is USA. Number 5, Vietnam. 6, Ukraine. 7, Russia. 8, Philippines. 9, Pakistan. 10, Brazil. 19th is Korea. And then 20th is China.
19th is who?
Korea.
Wow.
19th is Korea. Yeah. So, no, I'm kind of doubtful that this methodology, like, that just doesn't like really seem true to me. That India is like the number one country for crypto adoption.
I mean, they put a 1% tax on trading and volume went to 0. So I don't know. I mean,
there's no volume there. What?
I have no idea. I'm just telling you what the report says. So I think Nick Carter recently did a piece like analyzing some of this, but it feels like it may be that they're over-indexing on like website visits, just like the raw number of people in India, and the fact that China, China, everyone has to use a VPN.
Maybe this is really an index of where developers of all this shit are,
That is
not
also
actual
possible.
users. Because of the website clicks.
An index of click farms, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, interesting. But you were in a Korea blockchain week. Did you also go to Korea?
Yeah, I was.
You did. Yeah. Okay. So what was the vibe that you guys saw in Korea? How did it differ from what you're seeing here in Southeast Asia?
I mean, the Koreans love to trade. The Koreans trade the most of any country per capita. For crypto in the world, it started with traditional financial markets. The Kospi options market was the largest options market in the world until the regulators banned it because everybody was just gambling like crazy motherfuckers. And so they love crypto. And as much as the politicians want to push back on it, the young population wants it so bad that they have no tax on it yet. They've been keep delaying it. They basically introduced some new rules to codify how listings happen on, the Upbits and the Bitthums of the world. And from Maelstrom's perspective, we get a lot of questions from our portfolios, like how do we get on a Korean exchange? Because that's where the traders are. That's where the people who want to own these assets and trade them and add liquidity and all that sort of stuff. So I'm very surprised that that report said 19th. I think they've got to be top 3.
Yeah. I think we definitely need to look into the asterisk and how they calculated this thing.
That has me.
I mean, India is not a surprise just by sheer volume, but I would say Korea probably definitely should be higher. I mean, we had Aptos experience there 2 weeks ago. And we've been really big in Korea, right? Like you've seen all the momentum that took place before over the last 5 years. So we have not only the largest corporate sponsors or partners working in that region, but we see a massive sense of appetite in terms of volume and propensity to try new things. And so I mean, Korea, like the vibe is completely different on the ground. Like you were there, we were out every night. Everyone is interested. We launched something called the Aptos card, a cold storage that ties to your Petra account. You get APT on it or USDT now that USDT is available. And people were lining up trying to get a card because they knew that there's so many cool things that they could do with it. And so like the interest, the young generation there that's so open to trying new things is rampant there. And I would say India is probably very similar, right? Like the consumer behavior, the propensity to try new things is really high in these markets. So that's not a surprise for India, but Korea, we got to talk to Sergey about that.
I mean, one thing that's always confused me is that Korea and Japan are kind of similar culturally. Like they're both like, sort of these conglomerate-driven countries, low birth rates. It's like you're both kind of similar type economies. Korea loves crypto. It's like 15 to 20% of adults.
Only one of them had
like
Magic the Gathering online exchange, though. Let's be real. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But the weird thing is that Japan, like crypto, is just like not nearly as much of a thing there.
Taxes.
It's like 3%.
Japan used to be a massive crypto trading market, and the regulators there put a tax on trading and destroyed the market. And so that's why you don't see the
Is
activity.
that what it is? I see. Interesting. Interesting. So why does Korea have no taxes on crypto?
Because the population is so agitated for crypto that a politician proposing that is not going to get reelected.
Okay, so it's just like I mean, what's the theory of the case there? If you had to make the crypto germ spread more through different countries, like how did Korea end up there and Japan ended up totally in the opposite direction? Like, what's your theory of the case?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, let people trade, and they're going to love it. It's fun, as Mo was saying.
I think pensioners got burned out on all the Cardano and XRP they were buying back in the day. Like, let's be real. Like, that's like the Japanese pensioner meme thing is a real fucking thing.
You think it was choice of coins that led them in different routes?
I think they were just a little too early. I feel like Korea was all about the IPO boom.
all market
Japan was
timing.
like a little too early, and so then they bottled the dog shit stuff.
I see. Okay. Actually,
And
so
then they lost Mt. Gox. Come on.
That's true.
That's like seared into national memory.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was so tiny at that time. Like, not that many people must have cared.
It made the news everywhere there.
Sure. Well, so I heard.
Mark's launching a new exchange too, so this might
Yeah,
be.
he's coming back.
Yeah, second act.
Hey, there
You
you
learn
go.
double entry bookkeeping, accounting. You know, he learned some things.
So I heard. I was chatting with somebody today who's like this Korean, guy who's very connected in Korea, and he was telling me that so apparently, Korean retail, like the sentiment in Korea shifted a lot after Terra collapsed, but even more so, not actually Terra so much as Clayton. So Clayton, if you remember, it was Kakao's blockchain in Korea, and Clayton apparently like the chairman of Kakao or something, like some CEO of Kakao. Do you know this story? Basically, he was embezzling money from Clayton, and he was like indicted or something, and like it's like this huge scandal in Korea. And as a result of that, Clayton ended up rebranding and like fusing with some other Korean blockchain. There's like it's like a whole thing. And I had no idea that any of this had happened. But like, yeah, Clayton is no longer Clayton, and now is a new name because of this scandal. Do you know the story?
I mean, we know a little bit of the story. It's the reason Aptos, I think, ends up becoming an exciting option for everyone. But yeah, there are probably these types of stories across not just Korea in many markets.
Sure.
I mean, we've talked about other new
Okay,
projects.
so I'm
that
not
are
trying to
coming
sell
on
you
board.
down the river with your Korean friends. Sorry.
Yeah, like I'm getting sweaty up here. Okay, but I do think going back to the point of just like consumer behavior. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen Korea come out of a war many decades ago and go from one of the lowest GDP producing countries to one of the top, they're top 11 now. And I think there's definitely a lot of pressure from the young generation to continue to allow for crypto to participate in these economy and be part of the economy. But I think what's more important to any like political system or government system is to make sure that they're in that top tier ranking when it comes to GDP. And there's no denying across the globe that crypto is a big part of GDP now. And so whoever continues to facilitate the right structure, the right setup is going to win. And I think Korea is doing a piece of that, and probably a lot more when the elections in the U.S. materialize.
All right, fair enough.
I'm sure there's a group of Korean crypto podcasters who are discussing World Liberty Financial, similarly incredulous. Like, did you hear about this president and he's doing DeFi in the U.S.?
Well, I have to say, your description of the Clayton story actually did remind me of Terra, because I don't know, this is a deep cut, but I don't know if you remember DGen Box, which the Terra Foundation borrowed against and sent to ETH. That was the same type of embezzlement as the Clayton embezzlement.
That's kind of true. That is kind of true. Okay, well, all right. Well, speaking of embezzlement, let's talk about macro and the Fed. So, Arthur, you've become now kind of in your, I'd say you're sort of this elder statesman of crypto at this point, and you write these long treatises talking about macro. And given the moment that we're in right now, so this show is probably going to come out on the podcast in probably in 2 or 3 days, and by then everyone's going to know the size of the Fed rate cut and how the market responded. Right now, we still don't know. So there's a lot of speculation that it's going to be 50 basis points as opposed to 25. But you wrote in a post recently that the story may be less about the size of the rate cut as the other channels of liquidity entering into the economy. Talk to us about what your thesis is of how people should be thinking about macro that they're ignoring.
So as I said today on stage in my keynote, the only thing that you need to look at is the dollar-yen exchange rate. And so if the Fed's going to cut 50 or whatever it is, that's narrowing the differential between the Fed funds rate and the BOJ deposit rate. And the faster that the market believes that that rate is going to narrow, the more the yen's going to strengthen. the more traders who've borrowed yen to buy assets around the world, U.S. stocks, treasury bonds, real estate, crypto as well, they're going to have to cover and sell what they can as fast as they can, buy back yen to not lose a lot of money. And so if the Fed comes out and says, yeah, 50 basis points and the dot plot is super aggressive, I think that maybe the initial reaction is, yay, rate cut, and then it's fucking slaughter. People are going to get absolutely carried out as yen goes through 130 because people are like, oh, well, why the fuck? Why do I want to own this pair, have this trade on when I know that they're converging and the rate, the yen should strengthen? And so I think that's going to be a big problem. And the response is they're going to cut more because they believe that that's the response to everything. Oh, if something's fucked up, let's just cut some more. The reason why it didn't work is because we didn't do enough of it. So just do it more, which obviously is good for us, in a medium-term perspective. But I do believe that crypto could be a bit correlated with all the other assets if we do get a generalized sell-off due to everyone now knowing, okay, the Fed is cutting rates. They cut, maybe it's 50, right? That was aggressive. They said the economy's weak or jobs are weak or whatever. They're going to cut more. Dollar yen goes fucking, to 100 at some point, which, again, causes financial calamity. And then bad girl Yellen to the rescue. Let's print some fucking money because Kamala Harris needs to win the election.
So how do you position for this? Let's assume that let's assume the audience completely believes you. What's the portfolio positioning they should do?
Wait, I thought we were saying no financial advice.
We said for the four of us are not giving financial advice. You can give whatever financial advice he wants.
just double checking here.
Yeah. Number one, obviously, I'm long as fuck, and it's more like, okay, do I want to take a tactical position while I'm at the bar all fucked up? I'll just go short some Bitcoin into the Fed announcement and wait for a few days. If yen responds as I think it's going to respond, then wait for the market to drop and then go long as fuck because the response is more money. We know what the response is. If there's any sort of hiccup before the election, they will print more money.
Right. Okay. Tarun, what's your take on this story? Do you believe this?
All I have to say is that Elizabeth Warren letter that asked for the 75 basis points.
Describe this letter.
So I guess Elizabeth Warren wrote this letter to Jerome Powell that was, I want to say, groveling almost for a 75 basis point cut. And said it was needed, and in a lot of ways that were just like, we can't win the election without this cut. That would be my summary if you asked me to summarize it. Which is funny because this might actually be the first time there's bipartisan support in this direction for anything like this. Macro-wise, I don't know. I feel like the market's been pricing this in forever. You just look at all the implied spreads. It's like everyone thinks it's 50 basis points at least. So I don't know. I don't think you're going to see some shock type of thing because I feel like the market's been feeling like this is going to happen for the last month.
Tom, what's your take?
Yeah, the Warren thing was very weird. I think I don't remember a time in my adult life when people have been this focused on the Fed, which is also very kind of unnerving. You have senators, you have random retail people, kind of watching FOMC every single month. I'm like, this feels a little weird to me. I don't.
But they should be watching it. It's so important.
It's maybe that's a
fucked
good
up sort of way.
Counterpoint. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's always bizarre when it becomes kind of top of mind for everybody again.
Yeah, that is very true. Mo, what's your take?
I mean, Arthur said it well. I think, and I think I agree with what Tarun is saying too. It's bizarrely a good thing for us. Short term, and then maybe not medium term, but maybe longer term, and so that's kind of my view.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like so this rate cut aside, obviously a lot is going to be dependent on this election, and we're now getting closer and closer to November, and it's a story that everybody around the world is now talking about at this point. It's just dominating headlines. We just saw Trump have a second assassination attempt against him, and it feels like we still don't know what Kamala's platform is going to be for crypto. So Arthur, again, as the kind of macro guru of the industry, how do you think about a Kamala presidency and how it's going to end up playing for risk assets and for crypto?
Well, first, I don't understand why crypto bros and gals are so pro-Trump, because Trump was president for 4 years, and he did fuck all. And so now he wants a bunch of crypto donations, and so he says the right things out of his mouth, launches some DeFi dog shit or whatever he's doing, right? And all of a sudden people are like, oh yeah, you were president for 4 years, you had all this opportunity to do all these things, and you did nothing. And so all of a sudden you're going to do something now? I don't think.
So you don't believe it? You think he's just gonna sell crypto down the river?
Zero. And so then if you think, but what's the opposite? Like Kamala Harris, well, the Democrats and their administration has been hostile to crypto. And my point is, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Bitcoin went from 0 to whatever 1.5 or 2 trillion, whatever the market cap is, with no regulatory clarity, with no support from any government regulators. We don't need them. Why grovel to these people to like beg for scraps off of the table? Like continue building the stuff that you should be building. Fuck them.
Okay, all right. We got it.
So it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because the Republicans in the US are going to cut taxes without cutting spending, so the government deficit widens, and then the Democrats are going to have more welfare payments, and the government deficit widens. So at the end of the day, the US government will borrow more bonds, and will have to print more money to finance that debt. And so crypto will benefit. It doesn't matter who wins. It's just a popularity clown contest on TV.
So you think that all the stuff that happened in 22, right, of Operation Choke Point and the SEC going after all these companies, you think it didn't matter and it didn't slow down the propagation of crypto?
No. Absolutely not. Maybe, yeah, of course it impacted some individual people and their individual projects, but we still have more wallets today than there were in the past. We still have more people building. We have 20,000 tickets sold at this conference. 10,000 were sold last year. So more people are coming into this ecosystem. They don't need Gary Gensler or someone to give them a stamp of approval like, yes, you can invest in crypto. Fuck you.
All right, let's get a applause for that. Nice.
The only thing I'm disappointed about is you didn't use the word Muppet, which you usually
Right. I mean, it is an interesting thing. Like, people didn't stop building. People continued to build. We launched, right, in 22. And so despite all the sort of confusion around what is right, what is wrong, and the gray area, like, we continued to build. I think the sad thing is we did slow down, though, right? We slowed down in the US, and we were forced to, I came to Korea 8 times. I was in Singapore 4 times, Japan 4 times. And so, like, you just kind of took people that are in New York and California and, like, pushed them out to 19-hour flights to Singapore, and everyone loves it here. So, like, that's going to continue to happen. I think that's good for the globe, though, because now this innovation is disseminating in pockets where they can take things forward in much more interesting, more creative ways than we would have typically seen if this would only happen in Silicon Valley, although we're based in Silicon Valley, or only in New York, which was obviously the hub of crypto for a bit. So I think that's kind of good, right? Like, I'm
if the basis for your business is that you require, like, to suck on the government teat to survive, then you shouldn't be doing crypto. Go back to TradFi. That's how it works. Yeah. Very profitable. I'm knocking it, right?
All right. What's your take on the ETFs in that case?
On the what?
The ETFs.
The good things. They make the price go up, more buying pressure. But I think we'll see how the ownership changes in the next, was it the 13F or whatever?
Sure.
I think a lot of the buyers of the ETFs for basic is delta neutral basis trades. And so if the Bitcoin basis comes down, they've unwound their positions, and so we'll see the millenniums and the 0.72s, and those sorts of folks have probably reduced their crypto exposure because they never really were in it for the price appreciation of Bitcoin. They were in it for a basis trade.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason why I'm asking is that the ETF was a result of, basically sucking on the government teat, as you put it, right?
Yeah, and that's Larry Fink's business. Hey, we want to buy Bitcoin, let you use your retirement account, and put your money with us. It's just as if, BlackRock and Vanguard, another arm of the U.S. government, just like any other asset manager regulated by a domestic entity, is an arm of their government. And so if you want money to stay within your system and not be in the hands of the people, then let the same TradFi Muppets come in. There you go, Muppets. Come in and take your money and say, we'll give you this piece of paper. Here's this Bitcoin thing. It goes up in price, goes down in price. You get this thing. But if you actually want to, like, I don't know, buy some coffee from a single origin producer in Guatemala who doesn't have a bank account, this is not for you. So again, it's okay. Price number go up, cool, but you're not actually using crypto.
Yeah.
But it's still good, though, in a way that it's at broader access and distribution and awareness to people that typically would not be willing to or may not feel comfortable going to an exchange, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking it. I get it. Passive investing is a thing. If you have money in a retirement account and you can't get it out, this is the only thing you can buy, then okay, cool, makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tom, what's your take on this claim that Arthur's making that crypto, it's basically path independent. It's going to get to the same place either way. Government's a distraction.
I was going to say, it reminds me kind of your blog post, Kaiseki. The destination is known, but the journey is not. And I kind of agree with that to a certain extent. I think you can't really kill crypto at this point. But I do think GDP creation, value creation is a fragile thing. I don't know if you saw this report from former Italian Prime Minister, basically talking about all the different ways the EU has kind of destroyed value and killed innovation and what they can do to sort of change it. And people can say, oh, regulation in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. That is kind of true, but there is a very sort of practical, potentially negative downside to having a bad regulatory environment. You can basically destroy value or stop value from being created. And so, I agree with him in the sense that, yeah, this whole thing is designed as to be, isolated from government. That is sort of the whole thesis. But everything else that sort of accelerates it and makes it maybe that path faster, I think the government can actually meaningfully slow it and sort of destroy value there.
Yeah. I think, the point that you just made resonates with me in that, it's definitely true for Bitcoin. That Bitcoin, it's there, we all know what it is, it has its role in the global kind of financial firmament at this point. And it's a little bit like, when China bans Bitcoin mining, and okay, there's no more mining in Sichuan, and it just pops up now in Kazakhstan or in West Texas or whatever. You can't kill it, right? It's like whack-a-mole, it just pops up somewhere else. But that's not true for companies. It's not true for founders, right? If you basically go through and do a sweep and just say, every single one of you motherfuckers is dead now, and we're fining you for all the money that you're worth, it really does slow things down and make it more difficult, that the marginal entrepreneur is just going to be like, all right, well, I'll just go build a fintech thing, or I'll just go in AI and get some easy money over there. And it does feel like it's not guaranteed that we all get to the same place with respect to the total amount of new things, applications, use cases that people end up building in crypto. Maybe it's true that we get to the same place eventually, but it does feel like it really matters whether it takes 5 or 10 years longer.
We don't build stronger applications, right? So if you survived because of a favorable funding environment or whatever, you built a product based on your own personal gravitas or whatnot, and then you get sliced by the regulators for whatever reason, is that really decentralization? And what have we built? We just built another way of building centralized companies, but they've got this funny token thing that rides on chain, right? I don't think that's what we're here for. We value decentralization, and projects that preach that and back it up with real vigor are the ones that are most successful. And I'm sure in your portfolio as well, and same in mine, right? But the guy who's like, yeah, I'm really good at raising money from the traditional Silicon Valley VCs, and as soon as the winds changed and I went to AI, then, okay, you got a zero in that, but you probably deserve to get a zero because that wasn't really about what we're trying to do here.
Right.
The decentralization part is a very important one, and I think that really matters. But looking at the Nakamoto coefficient at the same time, you also have to look at what are the use cases. And I think not only can you not kill crypto, I think all these large companies, not all, but some of the large companies that have put their roots down are really starting to see things come to fruition, right? Take a look at someone like BlackRock, right? They have the Biddle Fund on ETH, and that is a pretty significant stake in the ground for them. And you have Larry Fink going out there talking about what crypto can do. And so not only is there products being built that add value to financial products or underlying infrastructure that reduces costs, and so they have margin improvement, or potentially helps them with distribution of new financial products, helps them grow top line. That's P&L impact. And so I think a lot of these larger companies, whether it's BlackRock, whether it's PayPal, whether it's South Korea Telco, all these folks are going to continue to push crypto forward because there's real business value, and they're going to continue to push their stakeholders and constituents along the way too. So I don't think there's no way you're killing crypto at this point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're running up on time, so we're going to wrap it up. But I just want to ask real quick, anything that you want to plug, Arthur, for folks who are in Singapore or people in your portfolio that you want to shout out?
Well, I'm going to plug my party on Thursday. The location's coming out tomorrow. It's going to be fucking lit.
No Jason Derulo. No Jason Derulo.
Let's get ready to go.
In case you're excited, he's not going to be there, unfortunately. Mo, anything you want to plug?
I was going to plug my party, but my party conflicts with Arthur's party, and I'm trying to figure out which party to go to. We have our party at C'est La Vie, so go to Arthur's party after my party, because I think theirs is going to go much later, probably.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing to plug is probably what everyone cheered about, right? You got to keep building, and I think that's just a really good message. And if you want to build on Aptos.
Love it. Okay, that's it from us. Thanks, everybody.